Salam alaikum, shalom, grüß Gott, bonjour, privet, dobar dan, and welcome around the world to this comparison between the past, the present, and the future. This is the past, this is the present, and this is the future, in my opinion. Now, I think the future of home hi-fi will be spatial audio, whatever it will be called, if it's called Dolby Atmos or spatial audio or whatever. Now, so I would say this is the next step. Let me name them. This is the ARCAM SA20, this is the ELAC DS-A101-G, and this is the Cambridge Audio Azur or whatever 851A, the integrated amplifier. Now this is the past, there is no DAC built in. This is the present. I think a built-in DAC is common right now in 2022, and this is an streaming integrated amplifier. This has 80 watts per channel into 4 ohms. This has 150 watts. No, did I say it right? 80 watts into 4 ohms. 150 watts into 4 ohms and 200 watts into 4 ohms. There is no rating I could find about how many watts the ELAC has into 8 ohms. This has 90 per channel and this has 120 per channel. If I'm wrong, just write it down in the comments. I want to focus on the sound quality and quantity. Now, starting with the ARCAM. The ARCAM SA20 has the typical ARCAM sound to it. A full-bodied upper bass, which makes male voices sound very present, and especially guitars. Now I know guitars are not just upper bass, they are also, there is treble and higher frequencies too in it, but this makes guitars sound very full. I wouldn't call it neutral, I wouldn't call it flat. That is what the Cambridge does. In my opinion, the Cambridge is the most neutral sounding out of these three. So it emphasizes nothing. There is no part of the frequency range that this amp emphasizes. And at the same time, it is by far the most powerful one. The power supply that it is built in is by far the biggest, and you can hear it. That amplifier pulls out bass the other amps can't. And even with these tiny little ELAC Velas, you get a lot of bass with this Cambridge audio. Now, and still the bass is not emphasized. It is just not emphasized. This is a very, very neutral sounding amplifier, at least with my speakers in this room, and in comparison to the other twos. When it comes to sweet sounding, these two are the ones to go, especially the ARCAM. The ARCAM is very, very sweet sounding. So please don't confuse it with the SA10, because there are some guys who say the SA20 is not that good sounding. The SA10 and the SA20 are completely different amplifiers, and I mean completely different. The typology is class AB with the SA20 and class G with this one. So you get class A up to mid volumes. And to be honest, I never listen at loud volumes. And it can get loud for this room. This is about 23 square meters. But I'm sorry, so my mobile phone got too heavy for my gimbal. Now, I will continue handhold. So, the sweetest sound comes from the ARCAM. The most neutral one comes from the Cambridge, and the ELAC, I would say it is somewhere in the middle. You might argue that I can't compare these two to the ELAC, but I can. Because at least with this speaker, the ELAC Wähler, the ELAC DS-A101-G sounds, in my opinion, it sounds really good. Let me tell you why. It has a very open mid-range, and I love that about it. And that is something you could sometimes miss with the Cambridge. Because that one, it is so I would say flat in its frequency response that if there is a song with a, I would say, a bit recessed mid-range, and some songs are mixed that way that the singer is very far away from me, from my listening position. And in my opinion, the ELAC Wählers can sound a little bit, how could I say it? A little bit flat, yeah, because it is still a very good speaker, but together with the ELAC DS, or I will call it just the Discovery amp, it sounds livelier, and the most lively or the liveliest presentation you will get with the ARCAM. When it comes to the upper mid-range and treble, when it comes to bass, this is the one to go. There is no other amp on the sideboard that can compare to the bass performance of the Cambridge. Now, the ARCAM has the sweetest top end, and always keep in mind I'm just talking about the combination with these amps and the speaker. This has the sweetest top end, and when I say sweetest, I don't say bright, because this is not a bright sounding combination, the speaker and the ARCAM, but it has a little bit of shine at the top end, which the other two amps don't have. So I guess you will ask me how these compare to the Technics SUG700. For that one, please watch the other video when I compare only these two to each other. And I will talk about that, comparing the ARCAM to the SUG700 by Technics, the Mark I, and because both have an excellent DAC built in. This is the ESS 9038 K2M, and the DAC, in my opinion, the DAC is as good as the amplifier. It is amazing. Again, in my opinion, this is an amp I could live on forever if the looks were more beautiful, or were beautiful at all, because I think this looks like 1980 or something. In my opinion, again, this looks a bit better, and the best looking is this one. That's why I call it the future, even though the top is a bit strange. It's from plastic, very soft plastic. Now, the built-in DAC is amazing. I don't know which DAC is built into this one, but it sounds really good, as I said. And there is no DAC in this one. One more thing I have to mention, and I did mention that in the video about this one. These two produce no noise. They are not as clean sounding as the Technics SUG700, but in my opinion they have more character, more honey to the sound, and with this one having the most honey. Now, especially when it comes to guitars. Now there is so much, I call it honey, because it is really not neutral, right? If you have to have neutral sound, this is not the way to go. Then this is the way to go. But when it comes to an enjoyable presentation, so these two, the ARCAM and the Cambridge, there is no hiss, there is no noise coming from the tweeter. But with this ELAC, even at low volumes, there is a little bit of noise, even at low volumes. Now, the moment it starts playing music, I can't hear it, right? And maybe that is something that contributes to its enjoyable sound. Maybe some kind of noise makes it more vinyl style or whatever. But if you want no noise at all, then you would have to experiment, and maybe in your flat or house it sounds different. Maybe it's just from the lines. I have no idea, but with the ARCAM and the Cambridge there is no noise at all. I have to turn up the volume to almost maximum to hear anything coming from the tweeter when no music is playing. Now, that is it. If I did forget anything, just write it down, ask me, I answer within a few hours, and or sometimes within a few minutes. And that is it. Thank you very much. Don't judge gear by its review. If you have the chance, listen for yourself. That's what I do. Have a good day or night whenever you watch this, and keep peace in the middle of your mind. Bye bye.